This is Mr. V. In this video, we will find the summary statistics of tabulated data. So we want to find the summary statistics of the test scores, and what we're given is this small table here, where we're told what scores people got on, for example, a math test, and how many people got those scores. So for example, 10 people got a score of 5, 12 people got a score of 7, and a score of 2, 6 people got that. Now, to calculate our summary statistics, our mean, median, mode, range, interquartile range, standard deviation, we're going to need to do a little bit of work with these numbers so we can calculate those. And so if your table doesn't already look like this, redraw it, and then we're going to add these couple of columns to it to help us figure out each of those summary statistics. We'll start with our mode, because it's the simplest one to find in this set of data. So our mode is the most frequent number. So what we're going to look for is the highest frequency, and then grab the score associated with that frequency. And I can see my highest frequency is 15. So the mode, the score, is 6. So just from the table, I can see my mode is 6. Next, we'll do the mean. The mean for tabulated data, we use a slightly modified version of the rule, which is sum of fx divided by n. So the sum of fx, what it means is for each score, we need to multiply it by how many times we got that score. So we want to account for all the times that we got a certain data point. So to find sum of fx, we're going to multiply the score by the frequency. So 0 times 1 is 0. 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 6 is 12, etc. There we go. Now to find the sum of fx, we're just going to have to add all of these numbers up. All of these numbers added up equals to 441. Now the second thing I want to know is how many numbers I've got. To find that, we're going to add up all of the frequencies. So when we add all of the frequencies, they're going to add to n. And for this data set, that is 81. So we have 81 numbers. So our mean is going to be 441 divided by 81, and our calculator tells us the answer of 5.44. So our mean is 5.44. Close to 6, but not quite. Lastly, we want to find out what our median is. So for our median, we're first going to have to take a sidebar and figure out which number the median is. The median is the n plus 1 over 2th number. Now we know we have 81 numbers, so this is going to be 81 plus 1 is 82 divided by 2, which is 41. So we're looking for the 41st number. Now to find that, we're going to have to use what's called the cumulative frequency. We shorten that to CF. So to find the cumulative frequency, we're going to add all of the frequencies up until then. So for the first one, it is just 1. For the next row, it is 1 plus 4, which is 5. For the next one, it'll be 1 plus 4 plus 6, which is the same as 5 plus 6, which is 11. For the next one, 11 plus 8 will give us 19, etc. There it is. And we should be able to find that the total number of numbers and the last CF, they should be the same, which they are. That's perfect. So what we're looking for is the 41st number. And so in this CF column, we're going to look for the first CF that is larger than 41. So if I'm looking through my data, the first CF that's larger than 31 is this 53. So all of the numbers up until the 38th are 10. Then the 39th, 40th, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, all of those numbers are here, which is the 6. So looking at my table, the median is 6. All right, they are our measures of center. We also want to find our measures of spread. And our first one there was the range. Now the range is fairly simple to calculate. The range is the largest number minus the smallest number. And in this set of data, if we look at the scores, the largest one is 10 and the smallest one is 0. So 10 minus 0, which of course is just 10. So our range is 10. The interquartile range is still calculated as Q3 minus Q1. But the way we find these numbers is slightly different now. So Q1, the way we find it is going to depend on what the value of n is. So if n is even, then Q1 is the n plus 2 over 4th number. And if n is odd, then n will be the n plus 1th number. Now in our case, n over here is 81. So we're going to use the odd version of the rule. So the interquartile range is going to be 81 over 4th number, which is the 20.5th number. And now I'm going to find it exactly the same way that we found the median over here. We're going to look through our CF column and find the first CF that is larger than 20.5. And I can see that that corresponds to this group, because 28 is the first number over 20.5. So the score is 4. So therefore, Q1 is 4. Now to find my Q3, I use the rule n plus 1 minus the Q1th number, which is 81 plus 1 minus 20.5, which is 61.5. So we're looking for the 61.5th number in our CF column. And the first number that goes over is this 65. So Q3 is going to be this 7. So therefore Q3 is equal to 7. And our interquartile range, IQR, is 7 minus 4, which is 3. So our interquartile range will be 3. The last thing we want to find is the standard deviation. Now again, the rule for standard deviation is slightly changed. For tabulated data, the standard deviation is the square root of the sum of fx squared divided by n minus the mean squared. And to find that, we're going to fill in these last two columns of our table. So first we're going to square the scores. Then we're going to multiply the frequency by those scores to find our fx squared, and then we're going to add them all up. So first, I want to square our score. 0 squared is 0. 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9, etc. Use your calculator if you have to. And then we're going to multiply this x squared with the f. So 1 times 0 is 0. 4 times 1 is 4. 6 times 4 is 24, etc. etc. And then, lastly, we want to add up all of these numbers to find out what our sum of fx squared is. That is 2,875 in this case. The other two numbers we already know. We know what n is, it's 81. And we also know what the mean of x is, because we calculated up here, 5.44. So the calculation itself is fairly simple. It is 2,875 divided by n, which is 81, minus the mean, 5.44, squared. And then we take the square root of all of that. And that just goes straight onto our calculator to give us 2.43. So the standard deviation is 2.43. And they are all the summary statistics for this set of data. So for this set of data, our measures of center seem to be around 6, and our measures of spread are 10 for the range, 3 for the interquartile range, and 2.43 for the standard deviation. Fantastic.